Hello, everybody. It is showtime. Welcome to the Street Angel Show. I am Mandelyn Reese. I'm known as the Street Angel. I've been running around the country for 8.5 years promoting kindness and positive messages, anti-bullying and such all over the country and sometimes outside of the country. Bringing you some live entertainment from home to keep you company during this weird pandemic time of our lives. Hopefully enlighten you, educate you, and guide you, give you some advice. And today we're going to be talking about some golden nuggets of wisdom so you can be your highest and best self. And I devote my show to helping others, and I have a really cool guest today. She's very inspiring. So her name is Melody Pourmoradi, and she has founded her own company that teaches women how to empower young girls or teenagers. And so I'm going to be bringing her in, and not only am I going to be asking her about what she does and workshops that she can do, I'm going to show her website because her website's really inspiring and things that she has herself accomplished, but I'll also be sharing a few golden nuggets of wisdom that I pulled from her website and worded it to where you can think about it for yourself in your own life, regardless of age or gender or anything. So I'm going to be bringing in Melody.
Hey, hi, Mandelyn.
Hello, good morning. And this is a special show time because Melody's got a busy life and we've structured it around her schedule. So Melody, I went ahead and I picked a very empowering orangey, fiery phoenix for this show because we want to fire up people and get their empowerment going.
Love it. I love it. And I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yay. I would love to hear, how did you get a calling to do what you do, helping empower other girls to empower other girls?
Great question. I'm one of those people who, how some people, it takes them a really long time to figure out their life purpose and why are we here? What's the work that we're meant to do? I knew from a very young age that I was meant to somehow be in a supporting role to people, cheerleading people, to just kind of be their highest selves. And of course, I was a 6-year-old girl. I didn't have the words that I'm using right now to express what I knew I should be doing. I just felt that connection whenever I had the opportunity to meet someone new, or, you go on that airplane and you sit next to someone and you hear their life story. And you just know you're there to support in some way. So I felt that whisper when I was so young. And as most of us do, we don't listen to the whisper and we go and we try a million other things and realize that they're totally not for us and they're not uplifting us and not making us just feel like we're using our gifts. And so I tried a million other things and finally came back to this idea of life coaching. I heard about life coaching about 14 years ago. And when I heard about what it is, I was like, this is for me. I feel like they literally wrote the description of my ideal job. Mm-hmm. So I went into that field and I started working with women, empowering women, giving them all of the inner tools that already exist to live their best life, to live a life where they move through every challenge with ease and grace. They grow through the experiences of their lives. And I loved it so much, but I started to feel this calling, this greater calling to work with girls, because I said to myself, when I'm working with these amazing women, first and foremost, we are unlearning all of the fears that they picked up on in their girlhood. So what I wanted to do was to scale it back. And I wanted to find a way to bring the tools that I was helping women uncover on the inside of them, but to bring them to the girls when they're so young. So we could set up a foundation where they're not unlearning and unprogramming themselves in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, but instead they're building on that solid foundation that they had the benefit of knowing about from a young age. So that's kind of how I started on the mission of girls empowerment and female empowerment. And I love working with women, and I love helping women learn how to empower themselves so that they can empower the young girls in their lives, whether they're their clients, their students, whether they're running girls empowerment workshops, which is what I first and foremost these days, what I train women to do.
That's really incredible. So how long have you been doing this? Like, when did you start this up?
So I started with coaching 14 years ago, and I started GirlLife about 8 years ago. I started it out of my own home, started running these workshops because I was just so lit up by this idea of like taking these topics and tools to the girls. And it really just like the community was so into it. All of the mothers were saying, this is exactly what we need for our girls. Where has this type of programming been? And slowly we had growth because other people and other networks of mine would say, well, how can we do this in Toronto? And how can we do this in India? And all of these things came together. And I decided, you know what? It's time to turn this into a digital program where women everywhere have access. Because alone we can only do so much, right? But when we bring in other amazing allies, other empowered women to help us get these messages out there, there's no limit to what we can do.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the golden nuggets I had written down based on inspiration from your website is when you can tap into your own unique divine power and empower yourself, you can light other people's flames.
Yes.
And then they can go around, doing the same. And it causes a ripple effect of goodness and empowerment that is so far beyond you. And that's what's really cool about what you have done. And it's just so like exciting because it's like you said, it's so needed. And when we can, how long have women been oppressed or women have been secondary in a patriarchal world? And so it's so ingrained at such a young age, and it's been going on for so many centuries that, I mean, even I grew up in a house where I was told man is head of the household and you have to basically, cater to the man or you're subservient. So it's on, and other countries have it even more chronic, especially some of the Persian or Indian countries. So I can see how this kind of program is crucial for women to regain their individual divine feminine power to spread their gifts. And every woman could have a different gift embedded in them, but it's like enclosed with a bunch of fears from society. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, look at you. You talk about going out there and doing work that you love and then inspiring and encouraging other people to do that. That's what you're doing, right? You're living in your purpose and lighting up the world in your own unique way. And that's a beautiful thing for people to witness. And when they get to see that in you, not only is it inspiring, but they're like, wait, you know what? Like, I see myself in her. And maybe if she can do it, I can also try to do something that lifts me up.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, and I hope to inspire people in that way to be bold and do whatever, like me being bold and wearing wings in public and being weird or dressing colorful or having a talk show. I hope it does inspire other people like, you know what, I can do that too. And I can bring forth my own unique presence and gift and share whatever I want to do. And however that looks for them, and that's okay because we're all unique beings in this universe, and whatever your rainbow color is fine. Share it with the world, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what your program does. And that's why I was just like, this is cool. I can't wait. And not just what you do, but I looked at your website. You've written a book. You've got it published on, you can order it through Barnes and Noble. And oh, there you go. You're ready. Why don't you tell people about it? Just show it real quick.
Sure. So this is my book, XOXO from a Girl Who Gets It. Mm-hmm. And these are basically...
I was trying to show your screen, but it messed up.
Okay, that's okay. So that's the book. And we always say it's for women ages 5 to 105 because there are 50 messages in there. And they're literally messages that I needed growing up that I didn't necessarily have access to, but they're also the messages that I teach in my program. And they're the messages that I teach my daughters. And they're the messages I want every young girl to have access to. And, if it's okay, I'll share also a message. Like, I mean, I always say to my readers, I'm like, just close your eyes and just like open the book to any page and know that that is exactly what you're meant to be reading today. So of course, the one that I just chose is You Are Born with Superpowers. And so this is just one example of how we teach young girls that they are born with so many unique superpowers and gifts that they may not know about, but how important it is for them to get in touch with what those things are. And even more so for girls to learn that every tough challenge, every experience that maybe we didn't want, but we had to go through anyways, those are actually building up our superpowers. So that's my book XOXO, and I published it a couple of years ago, and I'm just loving still the feedback that I'm getting about it, not just from the girls, but from the women who are like, oh my God, my 7-year-old self so needed to hear that.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you said that, because we have to do things to nurture our inner child, because, life can really damage our inner child. And shut it down. And once you can really heal more of that inner child and give it some counseling, coaching, healing, therapy, whatever it needs, it could be play. It could be, reading something like your book, and then you tap into that and you're like, oh, my inner child wants to play again. And like, you can bring it forth in your adult self and play with life and be happy again.
Yes.
But it's like, once you recognize, this bully in my past shut me down, or this person said that, and it shut me down. And it's like, we don't realize it until we're made aware that It was shut down,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me think. You were even featured on Reader's Digest and Huffington Post. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
But the program was featured?
Yeah, the program was featured. And I always go back to this, like when you're operating in purpose, when you're doing that thing that is your God-given gift to give to the world, all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork and they want to share your story and they want to learn more, and they want to, and so that's really how any media really came to be, is people heard about GirlLife and the impact that it's making on not just the girls, but the women who are running the workshops. That they wanted to know more and they wanted to share. So I'm super grateful for that.
That's cool. And you also started a podcast related to empowering topics. When did you start your podcast?
I started my podcast over the summer. I was on a trip to Rhode Island with my family, and I was just, thinking to myself, you have this like stream of consciousness and you're thinking, and some people channel that in writing or whatever it may be, a Facebook Live. And I thought, one of my favorite things to do is to listen to podcasts. So why don't I just start one? I have a few things I'd like to share on the topic of empowering girls and women. So I'm going to go for it. So the podcast is called Empowering Her. And it's really anything and everything in the world of female empowerment and entrepreneurship. And I'm super proud of it. I think we have like 25 or 26 episodes up. So it's still fairly new.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing it.
How did you get it on? Like, this was something that it inspired me. I was like, how did you get your podcasts on here like this? And how did you get it on iTunes and Spotify? Like, I mean, that's something like, I haven't had that step taken yet. You can go to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google.
Yeah. I would be happy to introduce you. I work with this amazing guy named Brian, and I just basically told him I want to start a podcast. And I explained to him, I'm like, I don't really have the time to sit and upload it and to sit and all of that. He said, Melody, you just take your phone each week, you record an episode and you send it to me. And that's it. So I hired him and he takes care of all of that for me. I just literally need to come up with my content and share it.
So is it just like you used your audio on your phone to record a message?
Yeah, I do a voice note. I go into my voice notes, which I think everyone has on the iPhone. I don't know about the Android. But you just record it and send it over. Or, of course, you could do it on your own. I know a lot of people who are doing it on their own. If you're tech savvy, it probably won't take you as long as it would take me. But I decided to stick with my strengths and not even go down that road. So Brian takes care of all of that for me.
Well, that's cool. And yeah, I love that you, like, I have a lot of similar stuff. You know, I've developed a CD that I sell, and angel cards for relationships that I sell, and I'm still working on that kind of stuff. But I had this understanding of how manifestation worked. So, and to just go over it briefly for the audience is, once you get an idea, that's the seed, that's the starting place. You get your idea, and that's your manifestation start point. So you want to write down things around your idea. If you get images in your head, like I downloaded my Street Angel logo from a meditation. It just appeared in my head. I colored it with markers. I handed it over to a digital graphics guy. I hired him to, like, I basically sent him my marker up picture of my logo, and I said, this is what it needs to look like. So they created like a, digital form of it to put on all my media. And then same thing with my angel cards. I was like, I'd really like to create a deck of guidance cards for relationships. And it poured out of my consciousness. Like I had a notepad and it just came out, each card's message. And I hired a lady, and she designed it and put it together. And I same thing with my CD.
Love it.
So healing CD. And I actually keep this little note card by my thing to visualize your highest self and start showing up as her. I keep it on my desk.
That's amazing. Love that.
This is like my highest self when I'm like all healered up and like goddess mode, and like, I felt like I was in my highest self when I was in LA, like running around, like going to red carpets. I don't know how I had the courage to do that. Like I look back and I'm like, holy crap, what did I do? I really penetrated deeply into the heart of Hollywood, just like following my calling.
That's incredible. But there was something inside of you, right? There was this like voice inside of you where you were like, my desire for impact is greater than my fear of putting myself out there. And so I'm going to go for it. And you did. And that's amazing.
I got to give the credit to God and spirit, because I really feel like that gave me the strength in some situations, because some were very more scarier than others, depending on the level of event or the type of people present. Because I basically infiltrated all types of people, red carpet people, black tie affairs, all different kinds of things. And so it's like it took certain levels of courage. Even after I'd been doing it for a while, sometimes were harder than others. But yeah, I mean, it was about lighting other people's flames, but also encouraging people to show up in their own crazy way too. And yeah, and so
inspiring, really inspiring.
So yeah, like if y'all want to check out Melody's podcast and her cool empowering messages, you also have a Facebook group for. Is it mostly for women or just who?
It is. It's a Facebook group for women who are interested in starting businesses, empowering girls. That's essentially what it is. It's an amazing, connected, incredible, like kind group of women. And I basically in that group teach them, like, if you're looking to create a business around empowering girls, these are some of your first steps. Here's something that you could teach. And then if they want to take it to the next level, we have a certification program where they can literally join us, become a certified GirlLife facilitator, and take those messages of empowerment to their local girls. And we teach them how to do that from A to Z.
Yeah, and you even have a few free trainings on your website if people are interested in that. And you have an 8-day masterclass to empower yourself. So you got all kinds of cool little offerings. Somewhere I saw you had a free like gratitude workshop.
I do. For anyone who's like thinking of doing this as a business, we gift them with the gratitude module of our curriculum, just kind of to get a taste of like, what is this? There it is. Yeah. How can I visualize myself in this role? Is this for me? And this is just like a really good first step.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I just wanted to show people that so they can get a feel for your website and where they can go if they wanted to be a part of it. So it's like there's a quote on there that says, now more than ever, there is a call for us to step up and do this work. And it's only like society is getting crazier and crazier, and media is just ramping up the fear, and like the pandemic is creating this fear. Like, we have more fear than ever, like social distance, don't hug each other, don't even hug grandma, it's like bad. And everyone's like scared of each other, and it's like,
I
okay,
know.
how are we supposed to fix this mental illness? And we got to like reconnect again. And we need people to empower themselves and heal from this whole traumatic experience, and then step out in their new self, like tap into whatever your highest self is. And once you can tap into more of your higher self, it's going to give you clues to your bliss. It's going to give you clues as to what your gifts are and like where you can go from there and it's going to be about serving others. Like, how can you bring your gifts to serve the whole as humanity? And it can be any number of things. Like, I have all different interests, and so I try to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it might be a little scatterbrained, but at the same time, it's me. It's like I have to live in this like multiple avenue purpose of stuff.
Yeah, because so many of us are multi-passionate. And I think there was a time where we were taught that it's not good. And it's like, stay in your lane, do one thing and do it really well. And I think people like yourself and people like me, we have passions in many different arenas, and we go where our heart takes us, and it's okay. Like, and that's my wish for girls too. It doesn't mean don't stick with the project and don't, bring it into fruition. But I think it's an important thing to teach our girls that it's okay to try different things. I think we're so afraid of failure that we don't encourage them to dabble, right? And I think that's what it's actually all about. Try this new thing. You feel like singing this week? Let me get you a vocal lesson. You feel like playing the guitar? Let's get you a YouTube. Like, whatever your bliss is in that moment, I think it's important for us to entertain it. And that's where we figure out our passions. So many of my friends say to me, like, my daughter, she doesn't have a thing. She doesn't have a thing, because they look at my girls who are very much into music and they say, but my daughter doesn't have a thing. I'm like, well, is she able to express herself freely? Is she able to try new things? And do you create an environment for her where that's okay? And I think that's important, because I know when I was growing up, and God knows my parents, of course, they were doing the best that they could with the information and knowledge they had. But they really, like, if you played the piano, you better take it like all the way. And if not, don't play it at all. It was that kind of mentality. It was neither here nor there. And the messaging to me was, Melody, you can never fail. That's what I internalized it as. Like, you can never fail, so don't try new things if you can't see them into fruition, like all the way. So just to piggyback on what you were saying about being multi-passionate, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I love that how you worded all of that was excellent. Like, I like that word, multi-passionate. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And dabbling, like, that's a great way to put it too, because like that's how you can kind of find out what do you like more, or what really fuels your passion, lights your flame hotter than maybe something else. But how do you know? Like, I like to use the analogy of trying food. Like, how do you know different if you're like foods or not if you don't try it? Totally. So it's like same thing with activities. You have to try different things. And then what if you realize, ooh, this is really interesting. Ooh, I really like this. And you got to be able to have that courage. It's all comes down to make your courage greater than your fears. You got to dabble and try different things. Go ahead and take that leap of faith and just try it. And even if you don't like something, that's okay. You don't have to go that route. I remember on that line, there was this time when I was in LA and I was trying to learn all different kinds of healing modalities, anything I could learn. And I was like, it'd be really cool to learn theta healing. I want to be a theta healing instructor. Well, then I went to a theta healing workshop because the universe heard it and it presented me with an opportunity. So I went and I was like, actually, I don't really like this healing modality. It's not really for me. I just don't really like it. And that's okay. I didn't have to go that route. So,
absolutely. You learned something important about yourself. But if you didn't try it, it would always be weighing on your heart like, oh God, I really should have gotten my theta modality training. Like it would have played on you in a way where you felt like a deficit of some sort. So you tried it, you gave it a chance, you didn't love it. It's okay. It's feedback. It's all feedback.
Yeah. So it's like you try to identify what, is good about you, but also try to identify what is holding you back. What are the fears? Identify what the fears are. What about naysayers in your life? Who's holding you back or holding you down or creating fears? Like when I first started my angel mission in Los Angeles, I got the calling and I started out wearing wings and I was running around. I had so many of my people, my hometown people were freaking out. They're like, you're going to get yourself killed. You're going to get attacked. You're going to be killed and murdered somewhere in the street. And like, they were so worried about me. And that's okay. Cause I left my nest and I went to LA, one of the biggest cities in the world. And it's like dangerous. And I'm running around in the streets like an angel, right? I was literally getting attacks from like my mom, my sister, and some of my best friends were like really scared for me. But I kept doing the mission anyway. I did my best to be smart about how I went out. I would try to carry a little mace. I never needed it, but I would try to be aware of my surroundings and go to public places, be safe as best I could. Plus, I think I had angelic protection with my mission too. But
yes,
once they started seeing me getting pictures with like all sorts of celebrities, I wasn't getting so much hate mail anymore. I wasn't getting so much like people throwing fears at me like, oh, you can't do this or your mission's gonna fail, or like I wasn't getting that anymore. People were like, okay, she's succeeding.
yeah, but we're also like programmed to be fearful.
Yeah,
we're also programmed that way, and they're all looking out for you, but the only way they know how is to to dish up their own fears on you. And
right.
so it's good that you showed them. It's good that you show them that there's always a way to do what you want to do.
I mean, it shows that people care, that, they're worried about you, but at the same time, you don't want the fear to be so thick that it's holding you back from your dreams, your passions, your mission, your purpose, whatever God puts on your heart to accomplish. You can't let it hold you back,
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are held back. And I still deal with fears. I mean, it's just part of a daily thing. I think it's a constant battle that you have to get through fears.
No doubt.
But I just learned to try to overcome the fear or move beyond it. I consciously aware, like, okay, I have this fear of this, but I'm going to do it anyway to try it.
Absolutely. Well, I always say your fear is a compass in the direction of your highest growth. So if you're fearing something, there's something there for you to learn.
Yeah. So with Melody's guidance and myself, the street angel, you got to figure out what your gifts are and go out and share it with your community. Figure out how you can maybe earn money sharing your gifts, whatever that may be. And do you still do life coaching individually too?
I do it for very few clients. It's really not something, unfortunately, I wish I had more hours in the day so I could do all of those things. But my role right now is really creating new content for our facilitators and supporting the facilitators, because when they step into this, it's a full career, and I'm out there building the foundation and cheering them on and making sure they have all the tools they need to serve, to impact, but also to earn for the good work that they're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's important to be, your authentic self and have unshakable confidence doing what you can do. I mean, it's easier said than done, having an unshakable confidence. And I really admire people that actually do have that. Especially like motivational speakers who were able to get on a stage and there was like thousands of people. And I'm like, dang, that's a whole level of confidence. Like, how do you do that? Because like I shake really bad. I get
me too. Me too. You'll never see me on a stage. I should never say never, but I don't think you'll see me on a stage.
So you get it too?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, I think we all feel it to some degree.
But yeah, it's like, it's really, once I think people realize that they can actually be better than their fears, they can move past their fears, just realizing that you can actually beat it. You can be courageous. And a little tip is, whether you're man or woman, if you use in your mind a superhero figure, like for me, when I really feel like I need to energetically show up in a situation, I will actually imagine that I'm Wonder Woman.
Oh, I love it.
Wearing the whole outfit and standing really powerful the way she stands. I'll have that in my mind's eye, in my head, and I will bring forth that extra energy in my soul in that moment, and whatever it is. And I have done that in a couple times where I feel like I've had to stand up for myself or really exert myself and make a point. And it's really a powerful mental tactic. So I just want to share that with the audience, that whatever superhero resonates with you. Could be Superman, you know, it could be Wolverine, I don't know, but just whatever gives you that inner strength that can bring you forward in a moment that you're needing to do it. And because life will put you in those positions.
Oh yeah.
You know? And it's especially tough when you're trying to stand up for yourself against like somebody who's like verbally bashing you or bullying you. And, you know, those are more challenging situations, and it sucks when they come up.
Yeah.
But it's good to at least have a tool in your toolbox mentally, because sometimes it works. And another technique is having a shield. Like imagine you're holding up an energetic shield, and it will literally work, like to block those negative vibes. Like you'll feel it. It's so cool when you have these tactics you can use.
There's so many amazing tools, right? Like it's uncovering them, knowing about them, learning about them, and you're unstoppable.
Yeah. Did you have any golden nuggets or anything extra you'd like to share?
I mean, one of my greatest goals has always been, like when I started coaching, something that in my own life helps me literally on a moment to moment basis, is this idea of being willing to change our perceptions, because when we are looking at something that's going on in our own lives, we're looking at it from a certain perspective. We're looking at it from our perspective, with our experiences, with what's up for us. And I think very often it's important to take a step back. And just like, you know, I'm looking at this mug. If I have this mug sitting next to my computer and this is my field of vision, this is all I see. If I get up and stand up and look at this mug from a different vantage point, I can look at this mug with a completely different view. And that's what I invite everyone to do with something that's going on in their own lives, something that they're struggling with, asking themselves, what's another way that I can look at this that is more empowering to me? What is another way that I can look at this that serves me a little bit better? And you know, that can be for difficult people in your life. It could be something that didn't go the way that you had hoped that it would go. What is another way of looking at this? And this is what we do in our program. We are teaching girls all day, every day, that they get to choose their perceptions. In fact, we have a workshop. It's called I Am Responsible for the World I See, right? I am responsible, because you see people all day long. Like, think about COVID right now. There are certain people that you get on the phone with, and all they do for an hour is talk about how awful it is and how this happened and this person passed away and the hospitals are full, and they're just kind of tuning into that zone. And then you speak to other people like yourself who are like, how can we still serve? How can we still show up? How can we learn in the era of COVID? Where's the opportunity? We're just changing up our perception, and all of a sudden, the possibilities are limitless. So.
Perfect. And thank you for bringing that up. See, I'm so glad I asked you, like, what jewel can you bring? That is amazing. Like, yes. And to be honest with you, this talk show feels like it's been saving my life because it gives me this excitement. It gives me something to plan for. Like, I mean, it may just look like we just get on cameras and talk. No, like, I put in a lot of time. Like, oh, you can't even, that's a blank sheet. No, but I put in a lot of time preparing like content, like researching, creating things to talk about or questions. I research my guests. Like, I will go through all of your tabs and I will figure out what do I want to talk to you about, or what do I need to ask this person so they can show up.
Right.
It's like, and that's something that it's really makes me feel happy to. I've created a platform where it's not just me and me, blah, blah, blah. It's like I also bring in other people and they giving them a platform to share what it is they're doing. And hopefully other people watch it and get excited and do something for themselves in their life to make their life better or other lives better.
It is a beautiful thing that you do, really, and your work is so appreciated. And I love that you said that. Like, this show, it's like your own way of working things out in life. You're learning, you're growing, and same for me. Like, I'm sitting here with you, you're doing all these incredible things in the world. Like, I'm lit up, and that's what empowerment is. Especially female empowerment, two like-minded women coming together and sharing their experiences. Like, I don't know a more powerful force.
I don't even remember how I came across you, but like it must have been Facebook, I think.
Or Instagram, maybe?
Maybe Instagram. But it's like I feel drawn to different people who are really showing up and serving. And I love to talk to them about it because it also gives me ideas, gets me fired up, and I feel like it could get the guests and viewers fired up. And so, I mean, and we need more of that. When we have this society that literally is sick, the whole world is sick, like on COVID. And then there's this fallout of there's a lot of mental health struggles happening. There's a lot of depression and suicidalness. Like, it's on the upswing. You got people abusing drugs and alcohol to cope. And, there's a lot of sadness, and the media doesn't help. It's like every time you turn on the news, it's negative this, statistic that, everybody's dying. It's like, okay, we need to bring forth something that makes you smile and makes you feel good again and bring some positive vibes. And that's what my whole mission has been about, is not just throwing out positive vibes, but universal humanitarian messages to like wake people up, just remind them of the basics of humanity. Be kind, be patient, forgive others, don't bully, just, be kind. It seems so basic, and yet there's not enough of it being said out in there. So it's like, I really appreciate what you're doing. You're such a strong, beautiful, divine feminine force who's really bringing a lot of goldenness to your life and the lives that you touch with your mission. And so thank you for your time. I know you're a busy woman with teaching all these workshop motivators and entrepreneurs. And so I see your light, and I thank you, Melody, for being
here. Thank you, Mandelyn. Thank you. What an amazing time. Thank you.
Yeah. So keep in touch. And yeah, I mean, this is just great. So if anybody wants to get a hold of Melody, I'm going to say your website again. It's
www.getgirlpower.com, and on Instagram @GirlLifeEmpowerment.
Okay, cool. And also by her name, Melody Pourmoradi.com, it takes you to the GirlLifePower.com. So yeah, and you can access her programs if you want to be a facilitator, workshop leader, free trainings if you want to just dabble in that. Her podcast, if you'd like to listen to some empowering messages straight from her heart. But yeah, Thank you, Melody, for your time. I'll let you get back to your busy day.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Mandelyn. Keep lighting up the world.
God bless you. Okay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, stay in touch. Bye-bye.